Who is this upstart podcaster? Carving out a niche in journalism through an unorthodox track. He's not really trained or educated in journalism, but he's quickly becoming a journalist like we remember.
All that he has earned and accomplished.
Like from our childhood, when we had journalists we could trust.
They may not be perfect, right? Because we can't have perfect people, but we've got to have somebody.
Bringing us news, expose, all without bias. Roy has graduated into Creative Promotional Video 101 today with voiceovers. That's Roy Hambrick. That's Small Town Underground.
Moving to the country, gonna pick out all the peaches. County's full of beaches, the people wanna be free. I'm moving to the country, gonna pick out all the beaches. Gonna vote on paper ballots, paper from a tree. I took a trip to Cherokee, they had a hand count I could see, and I knew it was for me. I cast my ballot fair and free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Paper ballots is the key.
Welcome, Roy, to Peaches and Bananas.
Hey, I'm very excited. That was a very flattering intro. I've never seen anything like that before. Very cool. I'm super excited to be here with you guys tonight.
Well, we're super excited to have you, man. We are huge fans. Huge fans.
I appreciate it. Like I said, a little nervous. I don't really like talking about myself all that much, but you know, we run our mouth all the time, so we might as well get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. Okay. We have some surprises in store. You know, we have done a little research on Roy about, you know, his life, his road to glory, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it's glorious yet, but
I wouldn't call it
hopefully glorious. It's getting there.
Well,
what do you say, Tanya?
I appreciate it. I'm super excited to be here with you guys on your new podcast. I'm looking very, very forward to seeing Peaches and Bananas grow. You guys do some amazing work, and I've only been able to work with you guys for just a little while, and I'm blown away by everything that you guys are doing. So.
Yeah, well,
cool.
We're blown away by you, especially just how welcoming it seems that no matter the person that you have on, it seems like a safe environment. Like you make it very welcoming to the guests to have them on, and your question style seems to really get at real information from your guests. So that's really appreciated.
Well, I try. Again, I have no idea what I'm doing. The background to getting into a podcast, a lot of people ask me, like, a lot of people want to know where I came from. They're like, where did you come from? Like, who are you? Who do you work for? Are you a Mossad agent? Or you work for the CIA? Who are you? And the bottom line is, I just found a podcast machine at a local yard sale. And I looked it up, and it was brand new in the box. And I was like, I can do this. And, you know, other than just plugging the microphone in and doing the Second Amendment stuff we did for years and trying to relay information. And, I mean, I did have help from a buddy of mine. I worked in the union. I was a welder, iron worker, and we had dabbled around in his attic space with a podcast, and it was mainly about movies because we both grew up, you know, during the Quentin Tarantino era, and a big movie buff. I actually wanted to make movies at one point in time. I wrote screenplays, and we did movies in high school, and that was my passion. So, you know, he wanted to help out with this podcast, and it was just going to be like a catch-all, you know, and so it was just a couple dudes, and so I had a little bit of experience doing it, but God, I never imagined I'd be up here running my mouth, every week. And that's as simple as it was. I found this podcast machine. It was like a $280 machine. And I asked the lady what she wanted. She said $20. And I came back to, my little office here and plugged it in, and I just started, and that's it. So it's pretty crazy. It's totally unintended.
Yeah. So your music is a big part of your life. We're not going to get into that just yet, but we're going to talk about Roy's music, his musical journey, a little bit.
No. That's a crazy story. My mother's a really good singer.
Yeah.
I'm from Chicago, by the way, born in Harvey, Southside Harvey, Illinois, which is now like a demilitarized zone. But that's where my father was a welder by trade and an alcoholic. So he moves up to Chicago, meets my mother. The rest is history. And so we were living there. I only lived there till I was 5 years old, but there was a Black entrepreneur that was coming through it was a very Polish neighborhood, and they wanted to sort of regentrify the area and build up, the Black middle class and do all these things. And so they were kind of buying up all these houses. And my father wanted to get back down here anyway, because, he's from Huntland, Tennessee, this little, podunk town, no red lights, barely a stop sign. And we just wanted to get back down into the South. And that's what he wanted. My mother wanted it. So they sold the house. We moved down here, and, but she used to play the organ and sing and all this. And I had no idea that I could sing. And I feel crazy talking about this because I don't tell anybody that I really sing anymore. But I was in, I think, the 5th grade. And how they would have the music teacher come through in the art class once a week. And we were doing these Christmas carols. And I was a pretty bad kid. Like I always was like, older, getting kicked out of school, but I was always making people laugh. I was a class clown. And so the music teacher stops me and she says, "I need to see you outside." And I'm like, "Oh God, what did I do?" And then she tells me to start singing for her. And I start singing. Next thing you know, she's got me singing in front of the elementary school. And then I end up going to this church. And anyway, I joined the Chattanooga Boys Choir and went up there with all like the Chattanooga kids, which I was just from like Podunk, Lafayette. And we started singing.
So what year was this, give or take?
This had to have been, oh my God, 19 in the early 90s, 91 through 94, 95, something like that. And
so I'm thinking that you might be in that picture, because from what I figure, that's from 1992.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I have these pictures somewhere in a tote, but yeah, I would have been on the bottom row where you see like the 3 rows together. That was probably me somewhere in the bottom there. And
cool.
Yeah, so that was at the Tivoli Theater, and every year that we would sing and do all kinds of stuff. I got to go to 7 different countries because I was in that choir. So I don't take it back at all. It was a great experience being young and going to see places like Paris and South Korea and stuff like that. But I never stopped, Yeah, we went everywhere, like Germany, France, Italy, Switzerland, South Korea. We got to go to Hawaii, and it was really cool. And my parents, they worked their butts off to do that. And I was an ungrateful brat, but I always wanted to be a drummer because music was always crazy to me. And you may not believe this, but in the South, I'll never forget my father. He was disabled for a while. He had this thing called torticollis, and nobody knows about that, but it's this neck disease where like it makes your neck go like this. And so he came down here and he worked a lot of odd jobs. And he was doing carpentry, and he met a black guy that was doing carpentry, and they became like best friends. And me being a kid, like white, black, all this stuff, but they became like so close. And they would take us over to their house, have barbecues and stuff. And so like at a young age, I'll never forget this because music really is like one of the biggest things in my life. I can't live without it, and I have to produce it. But I'll never forget being at this barbecue. And if you ever heard of the rap group, the Ghetto Boys, out of Texas, and that song, My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me. When I was a kid, it's like one of the first rap songs I'd ever really heard, and it had this profound effect on me, like that song. And to this day, like I think, like the Ghetto Boys is one of my top 10 favorites, from being a kid. But that like profoundly affected me. Of course, I'm from the grunge rock, punk rock era of the 90s, but rap was getting big. We're talking about real rap, not like this trap stuff they got nowadays, where you can't even listen. But yeah, I started getting into that stuff like that, Ice Cube and Ghetto Boys at a really young age, and
well, speaking of that, Roy, speaking of that, you got some explaining to do on this one here, buddy.
Oh God.
There we go. Here
Oh,
we go.
so oh yeah, you can play this. This is the shortest song we have. Yeah.
Let me make sure the volume's up here, because
how do
let me
you
just
get Ghetto
tell
Boys
people.
to listen?
Let me tell people to prepare themselves for not only the metal thrash, but the visual as well. So here we go.
Because we went from
That's me. Yep. Good old thing.
All right, let me pull it down a little bit. We can talk over it. Oops. Yeah, we'll pull it down a little bit. So yeah, man,
So yeah,
that's some headbanging right there.
yes.
So Roy, are you the drummer?
I'm the drummer, and that's me. That's me and my best friend Cam McClure. Actually, we were both
Awesome.
drummers. That's his drum set. With funny story. I mean, so music, like I said, I've always been into music. And you guys had asked me about music because I live in this really small town, and I we grew up in sort of the year punk broke, Nirvana, Soundgarden, all this grunge music that really, Smashing Pumpkins, everything like that. And we kind of had our own little thing in this small town, and it's true. Anybody can go look it up. But we had this guy in town. He still lives there. Still a great friend of mine. His name was Jody Ridley, and this kid. He had sort of like a little heart disease, and he didn't really go to school, but he was this awesome guitar player. And so he had this little recording studio. His mom just gave him this building, and he had this recording studio. I mean, he would just sit out there for hours and learn how to use this. And so the guy that's playing the band with me, he was a drummer, a little bit older than me. I'm coming up, and like you said, I'm always bubbling and try to be friendly with everybody. So they thought I was like some weirdo, like, who is this kid, man? He's just laughing and stuff. But they were kind of playing in this more serious, like Sonic Youth type bands, and the Riot Girls, that kind of thing. And so we all kind of got together and started playing. And like, this kid was so advanced because he had a drum machine and all this stuff. And like, they made an entire album just sitting in there with a friend of ours named Caroline. They would just sit there and make up the drums and use keyboards and guitars. It was great. So we all just want to start playing. Well, everybody is like, oh, you're a singer. I want to be a drummer. I always wanted to play drums, and that's what I really wanted to do. I could never actually play guitar really well. So like, we all got together, and it's created this huge scene, like this cat. So we started a band with them, and we started a band over here. And then Cam and I, we were drumming for sometimes I was in like 4 bands at a time, just drumming at whatever. And we had these little punk scene out of Chattanooga. These clubs, they loved us. They loved coming in. And not all of us were like drunks or out. We didn't care about drugs, which is kind of weird when you're into music, right? People think you're druggies. And that's all we did. We recorded albums and we played. And I created these things called the Lumps, Lafayette Underground Music Parties, where my parents would just let me go out and set up these pallets. And we would put up like 4x4s and hang Christmas lights, and we'd have all our friends come out, and it was amazing. And then kind of like the Sister Claude formed because Cam and I had become so close, and he's a how can I say this? He's one of the most artistic people I've ever. I mean, he can do anything. He's like, let's do a bass and drums band. We're gonna run the bass through distortion. And I'm like, yeah, we were in these bands. We were getting really into like.
We are listening to a song called Parachutes right now.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was our first album. And we did
Listen to that.
Yeah. That video was great. A friend of mine who worked for a news station, He was awesome. He would drive around the news channel car, and he's like, he went to film school. Like, we were all film junkies. We were all music junkies. We were watching movies every weekend. It's crazy. And so we went out to this place called the Train Tunnel. It's like one of the only 3 train tunnels left in the state of Georgia. We still have one right down the road.
Yeah.
We made up this crazy video for this. And
oh, buddy.
yeah, 13 years I played in that band. We played all over the place and had a blast. So, and still to this day, music is so important to me. So, yeah.
Well, let's see here. Let me let me
I listen to some crazy stuff. I can't help it, but I listen to bands that like would be so obscure. I'd be like the
Let's see
only
if I
person
can-
in Georgia listening that night. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
I'm not very fast, but I am.
I was just
Eventually,
like,
I get there.
looking-
Is this the train? Is this the video with the tunnel?
This is the video with the train tunnel. Yeah. This was like, I don't know, 17 years ago. We just
Oh, wait,
went
wait.
out there and made it this video on the spot.
Look at Roy.
That's Cam right there. Yeah,
Oh, that's Cam.
That's Cam. Hmm.
That's you.
That's me, chubby.
That's Cam.
That's correct.
I totally had you guys flipped around. What do you got against squirrels?
Oh, nothing.
I mean, not squirrels. Turtles.
I don't even know. The turtle was just there, and we didn't know what we were doing, so we were filming everything.
Oh, here's the train tunnel. What's nut grabber right here? This is a nut grabber guy. What?
We
Guy's an a-hole coming out of there. What's his deal? Are you guys getting scared? Or is he trying to
Okay.
scare you off?
So
Go ahead.
I found that mask. I used to work in retail. And I found that mask, this hideous mask, at a store closing. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. And I always wanted to find a way to incorporate that mask in something. So we decided on the spot that we would just have this weird thing come out of the train tunnel and we would defeat it, you know. And obviously the catch was, 17 years ago or whatever, how at the time, it's like nobody knew that was me. And it's like, who is that? And I'm like, that's me. That's the power of film. When you're
So you won the bird flipping contest and scared him off. I guess
Oh,
your
yeah.
bird flip was more. Bird flipping contests are great. I've been in a few of them myself. Who can flip the best bird? The most fastest with the draw.
Oh man.
But so you go into the tunnel after the guy,
Yeah.
and he's still beating his chest.
Mhm.
You're saying, "Get out of here."
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So I have some young college music videos very similar where we just go out in the woods and shot some stuff because with what we had and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one camera.
Now Cam gets mad at you here. Why is Cam mad at you? Oh,
We just thought it
the
would be
final.
fun. Yeah.
The final dying bird. Okay.
Yeah, like-
awesome.
Every bit of that. Now, mind you, I want people to understand my integrity out there, right? Because I'm not ashamed of showing this because we've all
Oh,
been young.
of course
and,
not. Yeah.
But every bit of that was on the spot, not on drugs, just having fun out there. And all we wanted to do. If you ever saw this train tunnel, I'm going to take some pictures. And I've done it every couple of years, but I'm going back out here. It's the most magnificent little train tunnel. It feels like you're going into the layer of Pennywise and It when you walk up to it. But it's literally a huge train tunnel. It's so long you can't even see the curve in the mountain, and it's just there. And there's no tracks anymore. They took the tracks up in the 80s, but it's this massive train tunnel that you can walk through and go to the other side of the ridge through this place called Horseshoe Curve. And it's like going back in time. People died building this back in the 1930s, 40s. When they were coal mining out there in Estelle. And it's like this beautiful, magnificent train tunnel that's literally just falling apart, and it's right there in your backyard. And it's like, to me, that's more beautiful than anything in the world. Like that I can go there every single day, and we went out there all the time, and we just wanted to get the train tunnel in there. So as we're walking, we find the turtle, and we at the time I smoked, and I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And then it was like, oh, it'd be funny doing the whole bird thing. And then he beats me up, and that's it. So
All right. Well, this is a good place to take a promotional break here. I first want to trying to find a spot here.
people
I
are
first want to
scratching
promote.
their
I want
heads
to
right
promote.
now.
I want to promote Small Town Underground. I want to promote Roy and his merch here. So
Well, thank
how's
you.
that?
Yes,
How's
that's an
that?
awesome
Hey,
T-shirt. Yeah.
look, there's 2 Roys in the show
Yeah.
tonight.
You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, you why do you use that? Why do you, that look?" You know, a lot of the older people, they don't like that. They don't like the.
I know.
And I'm just like, look, this is me. This is where I came from. You know, like I'm the same person I was probably 20 years ago, and we can get into that. Why am I here in politics now? But again, like that's
Yeah.
you got to have that. People got to know where you're at. You know, and I just that's what it is.
Well, for those of you who are joining tonight that are Peaches and Bananas viewers, we want to thank you for tuning in. There's not very many of you yet, but we're trying to build our audience. We want to thank you guys for coming on. We just want to tell everybody, and Roy's audience too, if you're watching, Roy was kind enough to simulcast this. Well, we tried to simulcast, but then to share the link so that his audience could come over and watch and learn a little bit more about Roy. We want to take the chance to tell you that the show is Peaches and Bananas, but we're part of the Magastruck channel. So here on Rumble, you can see we've got music tribute to Tina Peters here called "Fight for Her." WTF Trump is, there's that young angst coming out in me a little bit. Trying to get people to support the release of Tina Peters. But that's Rumble. And we're also on X, and I'll share that site there. Here's our Magastruck X site, and you can see we're live right now on X. And lastly, we are on YouTube as well. So I just want to promote those. Roy's on all those channels. Small Town Underground is, I guess I could go to your channels too and promote those, but maybe we'll do that later in the show. I'll get those pulled up. I didn't get a chance to prep that, Roy.
That's okay.
But at this juncture, I am going to unshare my screen here, and I'll just DJ this. I'll VJ and DJ this. I'm gonna pull myself down off the screen and let Tanya take over with the interview because she has a list of questions she wants to throw your way. Learn more about you. You good with that?
I'm good with it.
What do you want for background music?
I'm an open book. Oh, I don't care. I mean, we'll keep it, low key. Whatever.
That piano music was pretty good here. We'll keep that going right there.
I like it.
A little Elton John sounding. There we go.
I'm really into like lo-fi stuff now, like chill stuff. Yeah, it helps me out. So yeah, I like that stuff too.
Well, maybe I can load.
Okay, so you went from punk rocker, and now you have a family, and then we went to meet you at your business, and Ty was telling me, I'm sorry, Viking dude. I said his name. Oops.
It's okay.
Well, my name is out there.
People know who it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go
So
for it,
he was
Tanya.
telling me that you're a bounty hunter, and you have a bail bonds business, and I was like, what?
Yeah, it's super.
So
weird.
how did you get into
Okay, so
bounty hunting?
So yeah, at one point I thought I was gonna be, we were gonna be rock stars. We were gonna play these bands, and we we're gonna, the dream of moving to like Athens, and because Athens had such a wonderful scene. And so then I started looking into college. What would I want to do with college? Because I was kind of torn between wanting to be sort of a writer or like get into movies, and that at the time. And so basically what happened was I started working retail. I don't know if you ever know what a Fred store is, but Fred's was like a dollar store, but it was more than a dollar store. And I got in right out of high school. It's just like, I guess my work ethic is good, and I got into it and ended up, long story short, like becoming one of the youngest like store managers in the company, and then moving to Birmingham for a year. And so basically this is where I met my wife. And both of us were very successful money wise. So, at the time she was into college, but we kept kind of getting more into each other. So, she dropped out, and we got serious. And so, like I said, money was great being that young and making that kind of money. And so we never finished college or anything. And it ended up being where I moved away for a little while on the road. And then I came back, and I always came back because my father he got into the bail bonding businesses around the 90s, and Um, my mom and him kind of went through this nasty divorce, and then he decided that he had an opportunity to go out on his own and create his own company. And so, the blessing of our sheriff and his integrity, we started our own bonding company. And so, I kind of that's how I got into it. And I have to support my family, my parents, and so I always came back to it, even if I left and did something, or I always worked my own job, but I stayed here so that I could help support my father. Right? And now he's 82 years old, and there's no way I could ever leave him. But that's really the start of it. A lot of people think I'm like some kind of a gun nut, and like I said, we all were talking. I grew up in the North. I never did grow up with like mossy oak camouflage and going out deer hunting and all this stuff. Like the stereotype tropes of being in the South. But I didn't even learn about the importance of guns and everything like that. And that's really what started my journey here. But until I became a bounty hunter, bail bonds, because by law you have to carry a gun. And I always had been around guns my whole life, but never really cared about them. But that's how I
Yeah.
started the bonding company. And so we've been in business now like 25 years. And yeah, it's my secondary job because I've always tried to work on my own. I went and joined the union for a few years. I have another job in a maintenance position. So I've always tried to carry myself and my family, my insurance, and just try to be supportive of the bonding company and my father. But, bounty hunting, God, I almost got killed a couple of times. I got drugged from a car a few weeks ago. I mean, it's just, you never know what you're going to get.
Drugged. You got dragged out of your car?
Well, it wasn't. No. The guy. Long story short, we had hands on the person that we had the warrant for, and they ended up taking off in a car with me, kind of hanging on to it. And it's just a normal day. Got into a chase and ended up calling the cops, and we ended up apprehending him later. But you just never know what you're going to get into. I've almost gotten killed in Memphis, Tennessee, and ended up becoming good friends. But I try to help the people. Like, I try to remind them, I'm not the police, I'm a bail bondsman, right? I really believe in the rule of law. You're innocent until proven guilty, right? So my job is to see them through court. And I would rather do what I can to help them than to just arrest them and throw them in jail. And so many, people are, I've been through meth labs. I've dealt with every situation. Honestly, bail bonding is what turned me into like an atheist for a long time. I just didn't believe that God existed after some of the things that I've seen. And, people get so emotional, especially in politics, right? But if you've seen some of the things I've seen, you won't be so emotional because people are really going through some crazy, crazy stuff in their life that it makes me sort of not judge them as much, right?
Yeah.
I want to be nice to people no matter what. Like, obviously I'm going to stand my ground. I will die for my beliefs. But again, like, don't ever judge a book by its cover, man. People are going through some rough crap. So,
Yeah, and sometimes people just kind of get trapped in their circumstances, and it's like you can be in a bad moment, make
yeah,
a bad decision, and then it's a bad decision
exactly.
cycle. Yeah.
And when, bail bonding, and especially in big cities, people talk about race, all the black people and this and that. And look, I've dealt with all this kind of stuff. It's not that way. It's not the way the news portrays. There's just as many. It don't matter what color you are.
Right.
And they get so mad at law enforcement, and all we see are these nasty, gritty stories at law enforcement because it's provoking you to become gaslit. When really, law enforcement, I don't want to be a cop. I never want to be a cop. That's a lot of responsibility, and just like anything, you got your good cops, you got your bad cops, but every day nobody has a clue what it's like to have to pull a gun out and being that close to actually shooting somebody or being in a dangerous situation that could go awry so quickly. So I have utmost respect for law enforcement in general because we have to have it. And people are out of their minds. We've got a lot of mental problems, a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, everything. And I'm just telling you, the circumstances are crazy sometimes. So, I got massive respect for law enforcement. But that's how I
Yeah,
got into it.
and some of it makes me think that maybe that prepares you to when you're dealing with your interviews and not getting triggered, because I
Mhm.
guess you have a lot of experience then in de-escalating, right?
Actually, and yes, and I don't mean to on this bragging, but it was this craziest. You bring that up. All people have told me all my life, you're a politician. When are you going to run for office? Because I think I have a knack for trying to de-escalate, and it's not because I'll agree or disagree. It's because, well, number one, communication is the number one most important thing, right? You know, when you get into truth and understanding things, and that's where you the rubber meets the road, right? People will preach all day long, election integrity, for example, preach all day long about paper ballots, election integrity, but when the rubber meets the road, where are those people? They're hiding in the corners, and they're not going to do anything. So I want to keep, like, my show from the get-go. I've always tried to say, I want this place to be a place where anybody can come in and sit down and have a conversation, even my worst enemy, right? Because I mean, that's the only way that we reach each other. In part, like, I'm really interested in John Birch Society and things. And Arthur Hampton explained to me something one day, because I was livid with my representatives for, like this last year. And he told me something very important. He said, look, when you get to the point where you're bringing your pitchforks out and you're yelling and you're screaming at everybody, that's when the conversation stops. They don't want to hear you. It's like, what you need to do is you need to continue to communicate with those people. You need to continue to take up space in their head. So the next time they are faced with some sort of decision, right? The next time that they're fixing to sign some stupid law that's gonna affect my Constitution, well, then guess what? They'll have to think about me first, and that is profound. And I want to keep the show like that. So the best thing I can do is I have my integrity, I have my trust, I keep my conversations private, and I want this place to be able to come in and have a real conversation. So I'm not trying to do gotchas or shock jocks or anything like that. I'm like, look, if we can do better together, right? Because at the end of the day, and you know this, Tanya, for what all we've been through, even at the convention, at the end of the day, those people that might have called us enemies or tried to, make us out to be the bad guys, they went to sleep and they woke up and they're there the next day, right?
Right.
They didn't go away, and I'm not going away. So at some point, it's not like, oh, they need to be best friends. But guess what? At some point, we're gonna meet face to face, and we're gonna have to look at each other, and we're gonna have to figure out how we move forward together. Because, you know what I'm saying? That's where we live in.
Yeah.
So that's what I want.
Yeah. So did you have like a red pill moment that made you kind of?
So how would I get into all this?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's twofold. And I thought a lot about this, but I just gotta be truthful. So from when I was a kid, I listened to NPR. I was an NPR junkie from about at least 8 or 9 years old, and I first heard talk radio. I couldn't stop listening. If I was addicted, that was my drug. So I had listened to NPR incessantly my entire life, through, Bill Clinton era, through the Bush era, just every day. And then I started getting into talk radio, where I heard like Michael Savage, who's really one of my heroes. He was just so raw with his contact, and that led me to Rush Limbaugh and that the whole kind of conservative side, because I've always been conservative. My father was always a Republican before I knew what it was. His family was Democrat, but I always leaned Republican. I was always interested in Republicans. It seems always like Democrats sort of lied, always. And the moment that came to, of course, one of the wake up moments, right? It's 1998. I'm in the middle of, the Nirvana, Kurt Cobain had already killed himself in 94. We're all angsty. We're playing in all these clubs. And one thing I could never understand, and I don't even know why then, but, all my friends were always anti-America and screw the flag and all this. And I always had this sentiment like, guys, like, I don't know what it is, but I know that what America means is that we can act this way because of the freedoms we have, because of this thing called this Constitution. is why that you can act out and say that you hate America. And I
Yes.
never could buy into that, right? And so September 11th, of course, was a huge turning point because I told the story, and I didn't realize it then, but and 9/11 happened. I was in a hotel or my apartment I just moved into. It didn't have a TV. I didn't even know what was going on till 4 or 5 o'clock that afternoon when I got back to the room, and I had to turn on the TV because my buddy's like, "Dude, where have you been?" I
Yes.
was literally watching Building 7 like fall. That was the first. It wasn't the towers, it wasn't the planes, it wasn't anything. I was seeing Building 7 fall, going, "Oh my God, we're under attack." And then I had to rewind that and understand that it all happened this morning. That was the first like veil pulling back. It's like, well, what happened to Building 7? Of course now we know, right?
Yeah.
But from that moment on, I got in, this weirdo from Texas, man, this guy that just screams at the television, Alex Jones, right? Alex Jones, InfoWars, what is this? And at the time, if you remember, we were cutting our own CDs, we were making our own albums, we were pretty computer literate. We could build our stuff in little CD-ROM. So we were sharing information like that. People would give you a CD-ROM drive and be like, "Hey man, there's this Alex Jones episode you need to listen to," So there it was. I started listening to Uncle Alex, and I'm like, next thing you know, he's got like people like Al Jurgensen on from Ministry and Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins. And I'm like, whoa. And so I kind of went in and out from that, but I'll tell you the point. And I don't even like talking about it because I don't know if you've ever heard of the documentary called Zeitgeist, but I think it came out around 2007. And it's about a 3-hour documentary, probably made by socialists, who knows. But it changed me in ways that scared me. It turned me into an atheist. It black-pilled me because it was like all of those missing puzzle pieces about our government, about the Federal Reserve, about our fiat currency, our debt, 9/11, religion, and how all these religions were kind of cut and paste together, and it's all about on astrology and the sun. I was sick in my stomach. I thought I was gonna throw up when I watched it. And at the time, we were sharing this around everywhere, and that had such a profound effect on me that like it wasn't just the curtain lifting, like the whole theater came crashing down. And I was going to church at the time, and I just started lying. I was like, yeah, God's real. Everything's great. We're going to continue the choir. I loved all those people there. And I was just like, I'm done, God. Like, I've seen enough through the bail bonding, through this documentary. Like, there's nothing out there. We are it. And I continued that way for several years. That's when I started really getting in InfoWars like daily, and you couple that in the morning. So NPR was all of a sudden like, I saw NPR for what it was. I was like, oh my God, this is propaganda. This is total propaganda. And it was like you ever seen The Usual Suspects, the movie with Kaiser Soze at the end? And it was like the jaw dropping moment. And I could just rewind all these years of NPR. And it's like, I just saw propaganda. Cokie Roberts was nothing but a propagandist. And so then it started getting worse because I started noticing, well, it's not just the Democrats, it's Republicans. Like every time a Republican's in office, we're going to war in another country. But every time a Democrat's in office, oh, we've got to focus on home. And I'm like, no. And it kept going and going until about 2017. I was at a pivotal point in my life, and I don't know how to explain it to you, Tanya, but like I had never really, I guess I had given up on God, and I can't explain it, but I was at this pivotal moment in my life, and it's like God showed himself to me. And I know people are going to probably make fun of this or like, oh, you're crazy because of what we do now. But like God like opened my eyes, and I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that he existed, and that we were in a spiritual battle for the very soul, not only this nation, but I mean, for this world. and all this culminations of stuff came mashing together. And at the time, you know, we were, what are we going to do with this information? And more of us are coming together. And so this epiphany happened. And so like I get cold chills thinking about it. Like, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that God exists, that Jesus is there with me. And so from that moment on, I said, God, I don't know what you want me to do, you know, with all this information in my head. And because more and more people kept coming to me and saying, you need to do something. You need to do something. You know, my posts maybe. And people that would come out of the woodwork that I haven't seen in years were like, man, I've been watching you for 5 years. You know, your posts, you're spot on. You need a movement. And I'm like, what the crap? No. You know, and that culminated into around that time, there was a Democrat, I can't even remember her name, but it was like the most draconian gun bill I've ever read in my entire life. It was horrible. If the bill went through, I'd probably be dead right now because, you know, we couldn't have guns in Georgia. A gaslight bill, but it immediately prompted like several of us, like a divine intervention. There was every county in this area. The one guy, Tyler Martin, was leading this thing up in another county, and it's like, what do we do? And it was just, that's how it started. We'll just start a petition and tell them that we're going to stand up for our gun rights, and nobody's going to take our guns away. And so we did. We went over to the computer, we made a petition, and we just went and like we stood out in front of the courthouse, like 12-degree weather on a card table, and it's like, I had people driving by signing it. And all of a sudden we built this Second Amendment movement out of thin air. Awesome. Now that's not me. I couldn't have done that, right? And I didn't know what the heck I'm doing. That's where I met Marjorie Taylor Greene and this whole wave of like the grassroots, way before I even thought about election integrity, for God's sake. I mean, none of this. And it got so massive. We were doing events all over the place, and we had people coming out at us, and Marjorie's asking us to do security, and it's like the GOPs are saying, you guys need to come in here with us, and we had like 20,000 people between these groups. And then magically, what happened? Well, apparently a wet market. There was a bat. Some bats got out of a Wuhan lab, and somebody got in a wet market. Next thing you know, COVID, and it just destroyed that entire thing. And it just destroyed it at the height of everything we were doing. And then, of course, that was the other epiphany, right? We all went through COVID, scratching our heads, going, "What the heck is going on here?" And but I feel like I'm talking too much, but that was it, man. All those the 9/11, the zeitgeist, the understanding that God's real, and then just asking Him to tell what do you want me to do? You know, there's no person behind the curtain. Nobody tells me what to do. I'm just looking for the best people to help us move forward. And you know, the political leap is something crazy as well. I never ever intended on getting into politics, but after everything broke down, it was like everybody's scratching their head going, well, what do we do? Because, you know, at some point, everybody and their brother, you know, you got all these guys out here. I'm going to tell you something. We ain't never going to let nobody take your guns away, right? And that could come from anybody. That could come from George Soros. Don't you worry, Dre. We're never going to take your gun. That's just one minuscule thing that we have to worry about. When you realize that they're all your best friends as long as you're talking about guns.
Right.
But oh God, you want to talk about data centers or technology or Ponzi schemes? No, you can't talk about that. No, you can't talk about the country club and how all of these people are making money off of these developments. Yet all of a sudden it's like, well, what do we do? Well, we got to get involved in the politics because we're going to lose everything. We can't just focus on guns. And that was that transformation into this. Well, what do I do? Well, I guess I'm going to bring start a podcast, right? Meet people like Tanya Sosa, who's out there doing what needs to be done. And here we are. So I hope that answers the question.
It very much does. So why did you call
Here
it
we are,
Small
Roy.
Town
That was an amazing nonstop testimony about your life, bro. Thank you for sharing that. Have you ever been able to do that?
No, I mean, not like this. No. I mean, it's the craziest
That's what
thing.
we wanted.
People ask.
We
Where
have
do
a
I-
comment. Yeah, we have a comment from a YouTube. GABRIRLCRCR. Gab, you probably know her.
It's Lisa
Anyway.
Adams.
Oh, Lisa
okay,
Adams.
well.
Yes, Lisa Adams is absolutely amazing.
That's Lisa Adams. Okay,
Yes.
so now I get the acronym. Yeah, she said the same thing. Amazing testimony, Roy.
Well, thank you,
So-
but it's just the truth. That's what's so crazy, guys. All right, God, I believe, has crossed all of our paths here to this very night and in the future. But everybody wants to know what our angle is. Everybody wants to know where we come from. Why are we doing what we do? And I'm like, that's the craziest question to ask me, because what I'm doing is I'm doing my part to make our state and this country a better place, bring it back to a place of sanity, morals, values, community, right? I'm not here for a handout. I'm not here so I can have a seat at the table or be at the underneath it bootlicking. Like, I want to make it better. And there's the truth, right, of the matter. But they're so used to the quid pro quos. They're so used to people bootlicking and that everything has to be done with a sleight of hand, right? Well, if you sign my bill, then I'm going to sign your bill. It's not the merits of the bill. It's not the fact that everybody knows that Dominion voting systems is trash. Everybody knows that the 2020 election is rigged, but nobody wants to do anything about it. And all I want to do is fix the dang thing, you know? Anyway, I'm sorry. I have no angle here. I just want to make this place better than when I found it. That's it.
Well, Tanya has some hot take questions lined up for you. She worked
All
really
right.
hard on the list, man. So
I'm all for
let
it.
her jump in every now and then, man.
I
She's
am
got
so
them lined up for
sorry
you.
I'm hogging the air.
So, no, it's
Well,
fine.
that
no, because we want to hear that. It's just kind of, I want to hear what you're saying too. So I feel like I don't want to interrupt you.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah. Jump in there, Tanya. Start firing with your questions. She's got some good ones.
All right.
Okay, Viking. So, okay. In all this, then you had your first show. What
Mhm.
was it?
My first show. I think honestly my first show was just me because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I would just get on there. I would literally start on Facebook and just put the podcast, got this little mic down or this camera from Walmart, and I just started talking. And mostly it was about Second Amendment stuff. Now,
Okay.
people, that's it. I think it was the first show was just me, and then I didn't know what I was going to do, and then that's when I just started asking people to come on. I thought more people are interested than me, so
So you don't remember
So-
who your first guest was? Do you remember your first guest? Did you already tell us? And I wasn't listening.
no. I mean, like I'll tell you first couple of guests, like Ray Blankenship, Tyler Martin, the Jennifer Tudor, the people that were involved in the 2A, because we were all talking. We all had groups, and we were all trying to figure out how to move forward. You know, we were all getting the GOP, so that would have been my first. I honestly can't remember. I know Colton Moore was one of my first like main guests, like because I've known Colton for a while, and I always had a lot of
Yeah.
respect for him, and so he was just really cool to come onto the show. And then we went into like, well, people running for office. All of a sudden, I get a phone call like, "Hey, I want to come on your show," and I'm like, "Yeah, come tell us who you are. Let's talk about it." And that was it. So it's mainly just like that was it.
So what made
Go-
you realize that the show was catching on?
Oh, well,
Like,
first off, we all know how the internet works. So the first thing I said, and I have to give credit here to my nephew. My nephew is the one that gave me Small Town Underground. There's a thing I have, and I'm not going to ever explain it to you guys or anybody else, called LUM. And it goes way, way back. It's LUM. And so everything was LUM, and Kingdom Lum is something that's very, I had no idea what I was going to do. I was going to call the Kingdom Lum Show because I knew it was different. But my nephew was the one that he's like, dude, you got to have a catchy name. And I'm like, what's wrong with Kingdom Lum? No, dude, I got this. This is what you're going to call the show. Call it Small Town Underground. And I'm like, yeah, but we had the Lafayette Underground a long time ago. And blah, blah, blah. Dude, call it Small Town Underground. And I'm like, okay. So I did. And that's how that happened. But when I made this commitment to myself where I didn't care. I'm never gonna, we know how the internet works. You gotta do something viral. You gotta go out there and you gotta hit your head on a lamppost and like, ooh, and then a million people. I said, I
Yeah.
do not want to go viral. I said, all I want to do is grow organically. I said, I want people, I don't want to waste anybody's time. It's hard enough. And I don't have all the answers. So I'm going to put this out and I want people to come if they want to be here. That's it. So I've never tried to do anything viral or tried to go. I mean, nothing. I just want it to grow organically. And when it stops growing, that's when it's over. And I always thought that if I was the catalyst, if I could just start this and say, guys, I'm an idiot and look what I'm doing. Where are the smart people like Magastruck, Viking dude, right? As soon as people started engulfing in this, like I could just sort of fade out and be like, man, we've
No.
done it, and I've done my part. But like I said, I say, God, what you want me to do? And it keeps growing. I don't know what to do, so I'm going to just keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't care
So
about
what's
the
the
numbers.
craziest
Hmm?
what's the craziest thing that's come out of your show so far?
Well, I'll be quite honest with you. There's people that come to me all the time with things, and things that I can't report on. I don't have the capacity to report on. I don't have the manpower, and plus it gets deep, right? Because these people have things that are going on that they're too scared to talk about, and that's the killer for me, is that I have to know my limitations. We all have limitations, right? Because I'm not trying to go out and attack anybody, but we want things to be right. So there's a lot of things that people come to me about that I just can't do anything about, things that I want to do something about, but it's like I have to trust God. So crazy, I mean, I haven't had a real crazy podcast yet, and luckily I only had one troll, and I know exactly who the troll was, and I shut it down real quick. But I don't have trolls come on the show, so it doesn't get wild, really, and I like it that way. I can't honestly point to anything, Tanya.
So with all these politicians coming to you wanting to be on the show, which is awesome. I mean, that's kind of like, okay, they're looking at you for a platform.
Well,
How do you stay out of trouble?
well,
Like
here's the thing.
without
Okay,
it affecting like your life and your job and
right. So again, I don't really know that answer to that question, because it does affect my life. People, I think I'm crazy because I devote this time, and luckily my wife, my family puts up with it. I have a place to do it, so that's a given. But so yeah, what I want politicians to know about me is that when I'm asking for an interview or we're talking, number one, I don't screenshot text. I don't record conversations, because that's not what I'm about. I'm never going to be that guy that's going to give you the smoking gun to a conversation that we had, because I cannot operate that way. So the politicians coming in, I'm searching for a genuine person that cares about the things that I care about, and we'll take that back into the legislature, right? I don't want the bought and paid for people. I want people to know that we're looking for the best and the brightest, right? And you've seen comments in the GOP, they're not looking for the best and the brightest. They're looking for who can win. I really don't care about winning and losing anymore, because we're already lost, right? We have to salvage what we've got. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that I keep it balanced, because I'm trying to let them understand that I'm giving you a platform so that you can be responsible to the people, right? You're going to come in, you're going to tell me, sure, we can talk about things, and I might not agree with you, but at the end of the day, I want you to hear me, and I want me to hear you, and I want the people to decide, because I don't want a carousel of power to decide who runs the state. I want the people to decide. So I'm going to keep this thing open, I guess, to all of these politicians, right?
yeah, and hopefully because you're respectful to them, they'll be respectful to you
Yeah.
in those areas that you disagree.
Yeah, there's a very few people on my blacklist. I do have a blacklist, okay? I've got it. We all have a blacklist. There's people out there that I want really nothing to do with, that have crossed the line. And believe me, when you cross the line with me, you make that blacklist, it's very hard to get off that list. And you have got to have been a very nasty person to be on that list. We all have them. But again, what's the point of me? You know, we're all humans, and unless it's somebody like somebody that is literally like a demon, a deep state demon, I mean, come on, man, we all got to live. So
Yeah. So, in what you've seen, and when we're talking about the shady politicians, is the Dixie Mafia the same as the Good Old Boy Network? Do you think?
Okay, so in my experience, which the Dixie Mafia is alive and well. It is. It's the same, but there's different levels, I think. And I'll try to be brief about this, but you have the Good Old Boy Network, which is the people that work for the Dixie Mafia, right? So it's kind of like it's the mob. You got your captains and stuff. So you've got your good old boys who are going to bootlick, and they're going to be the ones that are cheerleading, and they're going to be the ones constantly defending the actions of the deep state or whatever, the establishment. But the Dixie Mafia are the ones that hold the power. And that doesn't mean that that's absolute power, because we can chip away at all that. But what I've seen is it's a network of people that, it's all crony, bureaucratic type positions that are unelected. We think we elect a commissioner, and we do. But that commissioner is beholden to unelected bureaucrats. That's the Dixie Mafia. It's worse in other places because a lot of places where people aren't paying attention. But in places where people are, we're starting to identify this stuff, right? So it is one in the same, but it's a different level, because there's some real power players out there that have way too much power and way too many people in their pockets. So.
And how do you feel about exposing all that?
Well, I mean, I want to expose things, but I'm not trying to expose things. Let's see, out of spite, really. I want to expose things because nobody has. I don't have an issue with anybody making money, right? And I can say this as somebody who's supported a local business, right? But we try to do everything right. Like we don't try to look for ways to do things wrong. We try to do things right, even if other companies do it wrong. And so I would much rather see our leadership try to do things right than constantly be looking for ways to do things wrong. This whole thing boils down to money and power, right? So when you get into politics, the first thing you want to know is what's in it for me. When you're bringing business into a county or you're passing a law, usually you're doing that on the strength of, well, this is a 10-step plan, and down the road, I'm going to make a lot of money from this. Or, no, I'm not going to do this deal unless I make money. So that's what it becomes. It becomes this Good Old Boy Network, and then by the time all these good old boys have made all their money and they've done it the wrong way, well, now they're trapped. They can't come out and talk about it, even if they have the change of heart or find Jesus. Guess what? They're strapped in there just like you were in the mafioso, because they were part of this for so long. And then the powers that be, they just took this whole playbook and they put it into law. They said, you know what? This is working so well and nobody's paying attention that we can just do this stuff, and we'll just codify it so that they can't intervene. And that's where we're at now, is unelected bureaucrats and all these different divisions leading all the way up to the governor have all of this stuff on lockdown. You can't change your property tax. You got to vote for the East Boss. You got to do this. Development authorities, they hold each other hostage. And it's like nobody's running the wheel except for the money just flows up through the top, man. It's ridiculous. So I don't want to.
They've lost. Yeah. I mean, it's not right. Not wanting to be spiteful or penalize anybody, but just remind them of where the compass is and where north is, and hopefully start writing things.
Well,
writing the ship.
When you get into some of this stuff, like the Good Old Boy Networks, the people that have been there for a couple of decades that did some really good stuff growing, and what happens, it's the same thing that happened to Senator Colton Moore. Like, you get into office and you're going to change the world. That's why I keep reminding grassroots. All right. You can't have 100% of what you want. You can't just hate everybody that's up there because it's a game. It's a club. And you get elected and you're brand new and you're going to go up. You're going to go down to that Capitol and that gold dome and you're going to change the world. You're going to get paper ballots and you're going to get all of these great things. And the minute you get in there, you've got 15 of your colleagues that's been down there for 15, 20 years. And they say, come here, boy. So first off, I'm going to take you over to the steakhouse and we're going to feed you the biggest, fattest steak you've ever had. And then we're going to find out what you want to get into. And we're going to find out what makes you tick, what you want out of this. Because trust me, boy, we're going to get you what you want. And all you got to do is you got to stay right here in this lane and you got to do exactly what I tell you. And when I tell you to pick up that pen and sign this, that's all you have to do. And we're going to make all your wildest dreams come true. Now, come on. That's one heck of an offer, right? So here you are.
Right.
You're ready to, you're crusading to change everything and make it right. Next thing you know, they've got you blackmailed into this position. And guess what? Well, you're not going to get that restaurant up in your county if you don't sign this. And then it all goes to crap. And then if you step out of that lane, look what happens. You get stripped of committees. You're the laughing stock of the place. Nobody wants to deal with you. You can't get a bill out on the freaking floor. You can't do nothing. They just erase you from their little club. And that's how it is. So it's a shame.
It is. But are you ready for? I have some rapid fire questions because
Yes,
we've been going deep.
All right.
All right, to lighten it up. What's your favorite meal?
Oh, probably a cheeseburger.
Nothing like a good cheeseburger.
True. That's my poison.
And you traveled so much. What's your favorite city?
Well, I said second up would be Seoul. South Korea was an amazing place. Had an amazing time. But honestly, Reykjavik, Iceland was my favorite place ever to go. Iceland is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. And, you know, if I was probably the millionaire, I would just, I'd move to Reykjavik and become an Icelander. So
That's actually on my bucket list.
you absolutely beautiful place, beautiful people. Never seen anything like it. It's like going to another planet.
Wait,
I
describe.
feel the same way.
Okay.
I've said I've thought about if I needed to expatriate, Iceland.
Well,
is
you
at
know,
the
I've
top of
always,
my list.
yeah, Alaska. You know, that I want to be the dude that just, I know this sounds cryptic, but I want to be the dude like out in Alaska who's built their own log cabin and just haven't seen anybody in 3 years, just pass away with my dog in my lap. That's, you know, that's me. But Iceland, well, this is back in the 90s, but there's basically two cities there, Reykjavik and like Keflavik.
Yeah.
But not only the beautiful cities, but like, you know, half of the country is just all like rocks and stuff, like just flatland rocks and mountains. But when you're flying in, it looks like you're going to another planet because it's just like these desolate fields with all these rocks sticking up everywhere. But then when you get into the city, you know, and it's got the 6 months of daylight, 6 months of dark. We were there in the summer. So you're at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're outside and it's daylight. And I'm like, what the crap's going on, man? But you go into these small little towns and it's all this old architecture and everything feels so homely and just, it's beautiful. And the people, the Icelandic language is probably one of the toughest languages to probably learn, but it is so freaking beautiful when people are speaking it. And so, you know, they got the famous lagoon there, you know, the lagoon that the world renowned where you can get in and people go there and put the mud on their face. I actually got to get in that. It's like a sulfur spring, you know, geothermal. And they took us all over there and they let us get in and we pasted all the mud all over our face. And I mean, it's like 40 degrees outside, but you're in like this hot bath water and it's just surreal.
It's another planet. Look, it's another planet.
It's another
Look at this
planet. And I can't describe. And, you know, Germany is great and France is great. Switzerland obviously is absolutely beautiful. Like you go through these tunnels that are sometimes 10, 12 minutes long. You're underground in these tunnels on the highway. And it looks like the Hobbit houses up on the hill. But when you go to Iceland, man, like I left a part of my soul there that I want to get back one of these days. So
I'll go.
Yeah.
If
Me
you need,
three.
buddy. Yes,
that was
sir.
too long of an answer. but
What's
go
next,
ahead.
Tanya? This is rapid fire.
Well,
This is rapid
it was
fire.
supposed to be rapid fire, and I broke my own rule. Okay, so all this craziness that we're living through, we know that Hollywood is going to make a movie one day. So if Hollywood calls, who's going to play you?
Oh my God. Well, now this might sound vain, but I've been asked before if I was Leonardo. I don't even want to say this. I've been asked before in some very strange places, like if you're waiting in line at an amusement park somewhere. Somebody's turned around and asked me if I was Leonardo DiCaprio, like in disguise, and I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah. And so that floored me. He's like, well, I know that he puts on weight when he's not in movies. And I just thought that maybe you could have been Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm like, I really appreciate that, but no. And then the number one person I get compared to is Billy Ray Cyrus all the time. Everybody, Billy Ray freaking Cyrus. I mean, come on, man. But apparently he's got long hair now. And I have no idea who would play me. Billy Ray Cyrus?
Different music style, though. But I guess that's why they call it acting.
I guess, but who knows?
Rapid
Okay,
fire.
who would you like to get as a guest? Like your dream
Oh my
guest?
God, my dream guest right now is Thomas Massey, hands down. Thomas Massey would be. I got cold chills because I know a couple people that work for him and I actually get to hang out with a person that's close to him in a couple weeks. But if I get Thomas Massey in here just to sit down, I don't even know if I could talk. Like I think I get lockjaw, and it's not that I'm awestruck, but it's just like I would just want him to sit there like I'm fascinated. Like forget the politics. Thomas Massey powers his entire house that he built by hand off of a Tesla battery. Okay, to me that is fascinating.
That
He has
is.
a chicken house
That is
that
badass.
literally roves around on its own, and he's got a GPS on it. They can sit there and keep. The dude is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And that's my dream guest. So,
Cool.
I mean, obviously, I'd
And
like
what's-
Trump. I'd love for Marjorie to come on, but I can't even get her to email me back. So, she's on her own thing. So,
After you were security for her, she won't.
well,
return
it's a
the
long
favor?
story. I think I'm on her crap list, and I don't know why. But again, I'm going to just say this real quick. I don't have a problem, Marjorie. I know people are for Marjorie and against Marjorie and blah, yada, yada. Marjorie's got one of the best voting records that we could have ever had up here. And Marjorie really hasn't changed all that much. So, yeah, she's maybe playing some different cards here. She does different things. But, again, we cannot get gaslit over this stuff over and over again. Nothing has really changed here. We're having this is a deep state struggle that we're going on with Donald Trump and our DC and federal and state. So lay off everybody. She's not going anywhere, and she's still voting the way we want her to vote. But again,
Good
sorry.
points, Roy. Very good points there. Wow. Thank
I
you.
mean-
I needed that.
She let her do her thing, man. Because session, she's going to be voting for what we want her to vote for, and that's the battleground. So
Yeah,
okay.
we get too caught up in the side stories, right?
All gaslighting, man. They want
Man.
us. They want us fighting
Guilty.
with each other. They want us to sit down here and fight and point fingers and Marjorie's so stupid. Just let it go, and tomorrow's another day, and everything's gonna be fine. So anyway,
Okay.
Rapid
What's your
fire.
go-to midnight? What's your go-to midnight snack?
honestly, I mean, if I'm up at midnight, it's a good chance that I'm working on something. So coffee, coffee. I can drink coffee and still go to bed. So, coffee.
I know people like
peanuts,
that.
I don't know. I try to stay away from the sweets, but this is all
Good for
fat
you.
from meat. I'm a huge carnivore. I'm not the hugest sweet eater, but I will eat meat like it's going out of style. But anyway,
So that said something about the carnivore diet. So what's the word that you can't pronounce?
oh god, there's probably several. I used to get made fun of because I would. You ever seen the Goonies? You know how they make fun of what's his name, the main guy of the show, Brand's brother. God, see, this is me. Royisms. They used to call it Royisms because I would constantly screw up words, and I'm not dyslexic. I'm just kind of stupid. So there's probably several words And I can't think of any right off the top of my head. But
No.
Well,
Okay.
yeah,
Back
I'm
down
putting you
that
on the
question.
spot.
I,
Yeah.
Okay. So you
You want me
said
to
that
ask?
you wanted. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tanya.
Go ahead,
No,
Vikings. No,
well, I
no,
saw your
you.
last. I'm looking at the format here. Are you moving to the wrap up question? Is
Mhm.
that where you headed?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, let me just set you up to ask the question.
Okay.
I well, I'll tell you what. To set the question up, let me share something I'd loaded. Yeah, is that loaded? No, it's not. Here we go. So I want to show this picture. This
okay.
is from your open here.
Mm-hmm.
That's Antonio. You
Mm-hmm.
guys are buds. You talk every day. You both have your own podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you have one-on-one with me. Antonio was last year at Voter GA's Christmas party. And you since then have said, "Hey, what are you waiting on? Start your own podcast. Get out there, get your voice going." And man, it was like I don't know how to do it, and I don't know if
You
we'll
don't
be
have
any
to.
good. We don't have any followers. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching. Nobody will watch or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, both of those conversations stood out to me. I mean, had never left me. Kind of haunt me actually. If you want to know the truth.
Well, I'm blown away by what you can do. So
Well, I mean, my specialty is in post production world, but I, the podcasts and the content, coming up with content, calling guests, arranging for guests. I mean, to me, it's like it's a lot of work. I mean, for people who are the influencers out there. It's a full-time job. It's a very lucrative job for those folks. I mean. But whether you're one of the big influencers out there or not, it's still a lot of work. I mean, it really is. It takes dedication. I mean, I got to hand it to you guys. You don't miss it every week.
I'll try not to.
Yeah. So that's going to set Tanya up with this
Okay.
question.
Okay, yeah, because you also said that you want other people to step up, though we don't want you to go away. So what's one piece of advice that you have for us that are starting and anyone else that wants to start a podcast?
Okay. So here's what I'm going to say. Number one, when I first started, you have to figure out a format, right? So there's key things, and it's not because you're trying to. I'm not trying to make it big. I never have that in me. I don't care about a lot of this stuff. I just want to focus on truth. But so if you're going to do this, and you're going to be, you got to be consistent, right? So you got to pick a day and pick a slot and be like, no matter what, this is what's going to happen, right? That's going to be your sacrifice. And then you got to pick a logo, right? Which is what I did with Small Town Underground, and the name. So you get the name and get the logo. Why do you have the logo? Because you just want people to identify you. That's all. A lot of people, especially when you're doing social media, and the way social media hates to, even if you hit the followers and highlight, they're not going to all get it. So you just want something that identifies your content, so that they can say, "Oh, the little yellow guy." So many people know that. What's the little yellow guy? Whether they hate it or love it, they know it.
There's a lot of yellow. There's a lot of yellow in your podcast. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's what you do. And then I look at it this way, because like Antonio, and we have gotten close. There's no doubt about that, because Antonio has such integrity about him, because he strives for the truth. He's got a beautiful show, and he's went way further than I even cared to go with it, right? Because he's got all this stuff down that I should have been, graphics and all that. But the bottom line is that he wants to tell the truth. He wants to look at the story and find the meat and potatoes. And so I think people are starving. Look at what we went through with social media, but with the news agencies, Mockingbird media. They're all liars. They're all bought and paid for. They're all corporatized, and they're trying to sell you a narrative, right? So I think where we are at is that people are starving for the truth. And I don't ever want to be a defender of anything, but I also don't want to be somebody who's always accusing. I released because I do special stuff like situational awareness. Those will just pop up anywhere. But it's on a specific subject and it's mainly for education, right? I want to speak the truth about it. And my goal is like, hey, if I'm out here saying something that is not right or not true, then tell me, convince me that I'm wrong about the feelings I have about data centers, right? So far, nobody is. So I would say to start the podcast, you get a time slot that you're going to be faithful to, and you get your little logo and your name, and you just do it. If you focus on the truth and you're bringing stuff to light, it doesn't, you don't have to be 48 hours or 60 minutes when you're breaking every story, but people are very interested in just what is all this stuff. And that's what I try to focus on. Like, this is what I'm looking at, guys. I'm not Alex Jones. I can't cover 3 hours worth of stuff, but what I can do is fill in some of these blanks on like what's going on.
I think you could do 3 hours, Roy.
No, who knows?
I think you could do 3 hours,
No,
bro.
I feel like I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry.
No. That's what we want, man. We want to hear. We want to learn from Roy. Who's Roy?
That's
Well, what
why
else you got, man? You got anything else for us? I think that's all we had. Tanya, you have anything else?
I mean,
Yeah, well,
Tanya?
what's your next show?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Zoe Warren from South Carolina. Zoe Warren is a guy that I met several years ago in the 2A movement, and he is libertarian. He's hot and heavy. He ran for, I think, lieutenant governor at one point. He's a great dude, and I kind of want to look at this Lindsey Graham situation. Got a lot of stuff lined up. I've got believe it or not, I've got a Muslim that's going to be coming on the show, and we're gonna explore this. We're gonna explore because we've been sold false bills of goods, and I want to know about this Muslim. Is this Muslim a terrorist? Is this somebody an extremist? What is going on here? So we've got those planned. I am going to try to get Thomas Massey on the show. I'm a kind of a fly by night dude, so I try to say, God, what are we going to do? I will have some people that are running for office. I'm not going to name them right here, but I've got at least 2 people that I've talked to that are more than willing to come on the show that I'm excited about because I want to know who these people are. They're running for office. So yeah, we've got some good stuff lined up.
Well, that's fantastic. Tanya, I don't have anything more to add. I just want to promote Roy's channels at Small Town Underground. Anyone who's watching, don't miss a show. I try to watch them. I can't get them all live, but I try to watch it when I have time, the replay. So go check out Small Town Underground. Very proud of this show. Very cool. I have a photo like this, and I'm kicking around the idea of actually doing a shirt like that myself.
You should.
Only it doesn't really go with the title Peaches and Bananas. By the way, Tanya, explain what Peaches and Bananas is for anyone who might still be watching. Where'd we come up with that show title?
Well, we started out wanting to give everybody a taste of what happens on the Voter GA Saturday morning call because it's a little inaccessible to people, and sometimes we get really technical. So, because we mostly focus on Georgia, that's where we get the peaches because Georgia's a peach state. And with the subject matter and what we run across, it really sounds like we're in a banana republic, and that's where you get your bananas.
Mm-hmm.
So
we are going to
we're here with one of our peaches.
Yes, I made the list.
Roy gets a peach.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, let me remove myself. So Roy gets the peach award.
Yeah, I just want to
I'm
say
removing myself too, because
I met both of you guys at the same time this year, and it was, of course, a contested convention. But you guys came up here, you came into the office, and we didn't really know what we were doing, but there was a connection there, and that's what I love about this whole thing. Is that you can tell when there's just a connection with people like Antonio, people like Lisa Adams, that don't want anything from you except to move forward. Like we're all walking together forward, right? And that's such a beautiful thing to me because that's what we focus on. And so knowing what you've done, Tanny, with Voter Georgia and what the history that you have, Viking dude, it's amazing. And then think about it. Here you are now starting this podcast, and it's going to be amazing. I can promise you, because both of you guys have a wealth of knowledge and are very entertaining. And I'm just excited for you guys, and I'm excited that our paths are connecting. We're crossed. We're here. We're going to keep going forward, and that's what it's all about for me. Seriously,
Yeah.
people.
Well, we're gonna do
Thank you.
in our outro video, we are going to do an encore of the intro video
Okay.
that I barely got cut in time for the show before we got on the line together. And I'm just going to go full screen here because I want to get my two lava lamps at least in the show once.
There you go.
You know, I'm very proud of the lava lamps. But that's the kind of vibe that we're wanting to put off here at Peaches and Bananas. That if we're laid back, we want this show to be fun and entertaining, and we want to make what would be great to me would be people who get so wound up for a ball game or a ref making a bad call. I want you to I want to help you find your way to here where you get wound up for stolen elections.
That's right.
I mean that's that same passion, and how do we do that? I mean, we're trying everything, but can we make the content? Can we make the subject matter more entertaining? Can we lure you in that way? These are the ideas we're exploring: how to make it fun, how to make it interesting, how to make it entertaining, so that it's not a bore, so that it does draw a larger crowd of those of us who, we just want to live our lives with freedom. That's what we want. Doesn't matter if there's an R next to your name or D next to your name or no letter next to your name. We just want everybody to enjoy the freedoms that this country is supposed to offer. And that's my pitch. That's all I have to say. I'll go back to the 3-shot here and want to get my lava lamps in. So
That's great. I love a good lava lamp, man.
all right. Well, I'm going to take us out here. Anything else, Tanya? Thank you,
Lava
Roy.
lamps are fun.
Thank you,
you.
guys.
At Magastruck on YouTube, X, and Rumble, and Small Town Underground on YouTube, X, Rumble, and Facebook.
Yep.
Any others? Any others?
Well, you can go to smalltownunderground.com if you want to support the show. We got a Give Send Go
Yes.
link. We do have a store. I don't know how long I can keep that store because it's getting rather expensive, and so. But I do have T-shirts, so we can get them mailed out. But like I said, you can just go to the donation link if you like the show and you believe in it. And you believe in what we're doing. Feel free to support it. We need all the support we can get. So.
Yeah. So, Roy, I don't have your Give Send Go, or it's still Give Send Go. Do you want me to try to
Yes.
pull that up real quick?
Well, you can if you want. If you want to pull up the website, it's got the donation link on it. It goes straight to it. That's the only donation link that I have. It's really the only one I want because I'm not in this for money anyway. But it's a Christian organization, and they have been really good with me. They've actually called and prayed with me before, and so that's just where it's going to be. I mean, I do the Cash App stuff, but yeah, there's the donation link and the store, and of course the land petition we're working on. But that's it right there. So
Boom.
like Angel Rosario, I just met him in person a few days ago. We've been working a lot on the phone together, and he gave $50. That goes a long way. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And I am also going to hop on the Give Send Go, and I'm going to transition to Tanya's Give Send Go.
Okay.
I want to just before we bail, want to show this.
Nice.
Peaches and Bananas is an effort to do all the things that I mentioned there in that little monologue, but also on the fundraising side, it goes to support Tanya. Tanya has a severe disability and she has no government assistance at all, and she lives below the poverty line, and she spends most of her time giving to others. So I've started to Give Send Go for Tanya, and it supports Peaches and Bananas there, but it really goes to support Tanya. And she struggles with a disability, and the cost of living for someone disabled with Tanya's is from birth a disability. The cost of living is way higher, and she lives on meager means. So help us if you can. Roy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure, sir.
I had a blast. Thank you, guys.
All right.
you,
We're going to
Roy. That was
take us
fun.
out.
All right.
Good night, Roy.
Good
See you
night.
Who is this upstart podcaster? Carving out a niche in journalism through an unorthodox track. He's not really trained or educated in journalism, but he's quickly becoming a journalist like we remember,
All that he has earned and accomplished.
like from our childhood, when we had journalists we could trust.
They may not be perfect, right? Because we can't have perfect people, but we've got to have somebody.
Bringing us news, expose, all without bias. Roy has graduated into Creative Promotional Video 101 today with voiceovers. That's Roy Hambrick. That's Small Town Underground.
Moving to the country, gonna pick out all the peaches. County's full of beaches, the people wanna be free. I'm moving to the country, gonna pick out all the beaches. Gonna vote on paper ballots, paper from a tree. I took a trip to Cherokee, they had a head count I could see, and I knew it was for me. I cast my ballot fair and free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Paper ballots is the key.